Alrighty guys, so welcome back to another module in the Ecom Freedom Blueprint. So in this video specifically, what we're going to be talking about is my go-to images that I like to go ahead and use on my e-commerce websites. So I know that when we were looking at my case study store, we didn't actually go ahead and use actual photography, right? Because we didn't need to. We never had the need to. But for all of our other e-commerce sites, we heavily utilize professional photography, right? This is so crucial, right? Because let me just quickly talk to you guys about something. If I was to ask you, how tall do you think I am? How much do you think I weigh? Because you're watching me from this, video, right? You have no idea. It's kind of the same with e-commerce, right? So we want to make sure that our images make or paint enough of a picture so that the customer understands exactly what they're going to get when they go ahead and purchase or they try to purchase. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. There are 3 different types that I like to use, and you can just play around with these. Okay, these are not like, oh, you need to have them, but for me, I think that these are a somewhat of a must. I think most e-commerce sites that are successful have some element of this, and yeah, it's just important to have. Okay, so from here, now the first one is your general, your e-commerce style images, right? Your product on the white background. When you have a photography or photo session, right, they'll set up a nice white background. They'll put your product on there, and yeah, they'll just take nice crisp photos, right? You kind of need to have this. Also, it's really helpful if you jump onto Amazon FBA. We also have an Amazon FBA course as well that you can use this for. And if you have another sales channel, it's always good. Now, this is just very standard, right? On white background. Make sure you have the shadowing. Make sure you have the reflection. Make sure your photographer should know this, but just make sure that you kind of reiterate it. And if you see, you don't have the shadow, or the reflection doesn't look right, you need to ask them. And the next element, right, is your lifestyle images, right? Your lifestyle images are so important because when a customer is looking at your product, pretty much you need to kind of paint a picture in their mind of how they're going to look when they're using your product. I've got a few examples here for you, but you want to also use your target audience, right? So for example, Boom by Cindy Joseph, they don't sell to, females that are 18 years and younger, right? Maybe they do for a gift for their 40, 50 plus year old mums or grandparents, right? But generally their main demographic of choice is the 40 plus year old women. That's kind of what you need to kind of figure out as well. You need to know who your avatar is, who your target audience is, and then make sure that in this product photography, right, that you show that type of audience, right? You can't sell, for example, like a protein bar with someone who's severely overweight. It just doesn't make sense. It's going to cause some sort of like disconnect in the consumer's mind. It's going to make them lose trust in your brand as well. Okay, so you need to, as a key point, make sure that they can first picture how they're going to feel or how they're going to look when they're using your product, right? And then secondly, make sure that the people that you're using relate to your target audience. Now, the final point that I will quickly mention about the lifestyle images is generally, as a rule of thumb, always have these people smiling. You don't want them to be upset, or you don't want them to do that. We want to associate positive connotations to our product rather than negative. Okay, so make sure that they're smiling, make sure they're happy, they're full of energy, all that kinds of stuff. Now, the final one is very important in my opinion. This is product unboxing, right? So what you want to do is give them some sort of indication. Again, when I asked you the question, how tall do you think I am? You'll never know, right? Until you join the Shopify Freedom course. But until that point, right, you're going to see here that the images or the product packaging is what kind of gives your customer some sort of confidence, especially in 2021 and onwards. You want to make sure that you kind of set yourself up as a reputable brand on e-commerce, because there's a lot of, in the past couple years, there's been a lot of scams. A lot of people are aware of this, right? So you want to kind of come across as trustworthy as possible. The best way to do that is to show that, hey, look, I have invested into my product packaging. I understand that the customer unboxing experience is extremely important. And just as a rule of thumb, like, try to become like the Apple of your product market. You know how Apple has an amazing unboxing experience. You want to kind of try to get on that level, right? You don't need to go all the way like them, and don't say we are the Apple of like pet supply. Like, don't do that. Just try to take effort or take time into not even designing good packaging, but just showing your good packaging in a good light, right? And then photography is a great way of doing that. Now, the fourth thing I will quickly mention, and that's not something I wrote here, but it just came to mind, by having a video, right? A lot of these photographers, they can also record video. So it'd be excellent if you could, show some sort of unboxing or the overall customer experience of, them receiving the package at their door, them being really excited, really happy, kind of just bursting with energy, right? Ripping open the packaging, really kind of taking notice of how good care and quality there is in the packaging, right? And then actually going from there, transitioning them to using the product and really solving the problem that you're trying to solve with your product, right? If you have that, walk them through that. We as visual human beings, right, or visual creatures, this will, really speak volumes in terms of getting your conversion rates up. Again, product images extremely important because you only have your one first impression. There is only your first impression, right? If you've lost them on your first, very often at times it's going to be difficult to recapture them unless you do something like do a crazy discount or whatever, but that's another chat for another time. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Very short, very simple one, just about product images and first impressions. Okay, so go ahead and create it. In terms of in the final point I will quickly mention is, where do I get these product photos made? You can simply, honestly, either there's all these factors that you can do, all these options, right? Number one, you can just locally look for photographers, professional photographers who have a studio or who can hire out a studio. That's probably the easiest way, so you can actually be there, present. Now, the other one that I would recommend potentially is Suna. Now, Suna is one that I use. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I do enjoy the system that they've set up. They really do kind of streamline the whole process of having the virtual photo shoot. You ship them the goods, right? You give them the brief, and you can just show them a product unboxing images, user product in use images, and then also just the white background one. Those are the ones that I like to use, right? And you can use that as a brief. Soon is one, and just any really local photographer, right, makes it very simple. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you go ahead and apply the things that I spoke about in this video into your own e-commerce stores, and I guarantee you it will change. It'll be like night and day for your product page. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video.